Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to your show, E-Coffee with Experts. This is Ranmay here, your host for today's episode. And today we have Rob, who is the partner and co-founder at Flying V Group with us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Ranmay. Thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here with you.
Brilliant. Rob, before we move any forward and understand more about SEO and strategies from you, why don't you help our audiences understand more about Flying V Group, how you started, your journey so far, what do you guys specialize in, and then we'll take it forward from there on.
No doubt. Yeah, that sounds great. The story's definitely floating around online and in other podcasts or blogs that I've written, but definitely was not a master planned business by any means. My business partners and I, which is Brennan Smith, and then my brother, actually, Tyler Fahrion. I had a mentor that came to me. He was a lawyer, and I was working a regular job like everybody else at the time, and in marketing, of course. And he came to me in a panic saying, "Hey, my website's down, my emails don't work. I don't know what to do. I can't continue running my business." He was a good mentor of mine, so helped him get it up back on his feet. And he was a very successful lawyer, still is, corporate lawyer,
Wow.
and was super thankful. Said, "Hey, send me an invoice for the work." Had no idea what to invoice him. Invoiced him, paid immediately, and that's when I thought to how many other guys in that particular space, right, have this need and need this support, and especially with where everything's transitioning, right, to the digital era, then the digital age. And went to Brennan, went to Tyler, said, "Hey, I think there's something here. We focus on that archetype, right?
Mhm.
Lawyers, financial advisors, professionals, accounting firms, healthcare's in that mix as well." And still to this day, those are some of our core clients because they're really good at what they do and they have a specific expertise in legal law, might be healthcare, obviously. But in terms of business or marketing as a part of the business, they're really reliant on word of mouth and referral primarily, right? Very few of them understand, or not that they don't understand, very few of them even want to tackle those particular efforts. That's where we started to come in. We built Flying V Group. We looked to sit as almost like a plug-in marketing team, or at least
Mhm.
marketing expert for their organization. And since then, we service all different types of clients now, from e-commerce to still the professional services space as well. But yeah, really putting an emphasis on supporting businesses that are, number one, established, but number two, looking for growth, that
Mhm.
don't have that marketing expertise or resources in house. So a lot of times those companies have maybe one individual that's a marketing director or someone that they've told, "Hey, you handle the marketing," right? And so we're really coming in to help drive strategy, consultation, expand bandwidth, and then get them going in the right direction and starting to scale up from there. So yeah, that's a quick background. Again, no business plan, spur of the moment, on a whim, right place, right time. Brennan and Tyler were also pretty frustrated with their normal day to day. So we took the leap of faith, and here we are now, coming up on 10 years, almost 2025. So one more year, and then we'll be at 10 years. So we're pretty excited about that.
Brilliant. The invoice worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Rob, Flying V Group, you as an agency have serviced more than 200 companies now with diversified digital marketing needs, right? So, how do you adapt your strategies to cater to both small and medium sized businesses? Because the competition, the space is so different from each other. And to Fortune 500 companies, again, the difference only grows in between these niches. Are there any common threads in your approach, or is it entirely different for each client across these three different industry
Sure.
segments?
Sure. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the actual like marketing work that we're doing is always going to be different, right? We're firm believers that there's no box solution, right? That works for everybody. Every client's different. Even if you're talking about a client that's in the same vertical, they'll have different needs, right? Or they might have different goals, or maybe they're in the startup phase versus another business might be more mature, even though they're both law firms, let's say, right? So I think that's where the structure of the campaign, the goals, the targeting, those things are always going to be different. At the end of the day, though, our core service stack still remains primarily the same in that we have our web dev design department, we have our SEO team, we have our content team, we have our paid media buying team. But that's where the most important part of any engagement for us is really in that discovery. So, right out of the gate, even before we're working with the client, we really want to take a deep dive into their business, right? I want to understand every single thing in terms of how their business works, what's worked in the past. Again, where are they trying to go currently? What pain points do they have? What resources do they have in-house potentially? And then who's their customer, right? What does their customer care about? What are their customers' pain points? And how are they solving those in terms of their competitive advantage and differentiation? So those first initial calls that we're having with prospective clients are really information gathering, right? It's not us telling them what we want to do. It's
Yeah.
them giving us the information for me and Brennan and our team to then go basically architect, okay, this is what the marketing and advertising plan and strategy looks like, right? And lay out that roadmap and that blueprint for how we can be successful. And then at that point, you're putting together a very strategic plan as well. And all of that planning, and then, okay, we're taking the SEO team and this particular segment of the paid media team handling meta advertising, and we're meshing those together. And we're also looking at how can the work that we're doing on the SEO side complement the paid media buying as well. So I think that's where you need a lot of synergy cross channel. One of the things very early on that we saw too is a lot of agencies, they do get a little bit siloed, which is okay. But we were looking to solve, I think, more complicated, bigger problems. And our clients didn't really have anything, right? When we're sitting there talking to them, it's, hey, we need to have short term, long term efforts, right? We need a blend in which, all right, if we're driving traffic through organic, we need some sort of paid media for retargeting and follow up. So that's what I think's really made us effective, and not only in the strategies and how we build them and the performance, but also in the types of clients that we work with. Because when we're starting and sitting down, regardless of whether I've worked with this particular business in the past, I'm coming in with a clean slate and wanting to know everything from their perspective. Because again, even if I have worked with that type of client in the past, this is a completely unique situation. And so our emphasis on learning, understanding, and then from there, providing a strategic plan, I think has really allowed us to be successful across multiple different verticals, multiple different strategies, and really is, I think, a distinct advantage that we have in the marketplace.
Lovely. During these discovery calls, I'm sure this might have happened with you as well, where when you were asking these questions to founders, owners, why you started this business, what was the problem statement you walked out of your home to solve, and how do you want to be seen, your customers, and all that stuff. Has it happened that they actually go back to their drawing board and it makes them realize, okay, while we are chasing revenue, numbers, target, let's go back and understand why it all started and give these guys information so that they can present the right sort of image for us online. Has this happened with you?
Definitely. Yeah, that's a great point. I don't think I've been asked that question in the past, but you're right. I think the initial call that we have a lot of times, sometimes they don't know the answers to the questions that
Yeah.
we have, right? And so then it's at that point they need to go back to the drawing board, like you're saying, and be like, yeah, what are we trying to do? Or what is the real goal here? Or, we put consideration of whatever it may be into their heads of, okay, maybe we do need to think about this a little bit differently. And we find that a lot of times when we do come to the table with the strategy, whoa, I was not expecting that. And it's, yeah,
Yeah.
because, a lot of times you do, unfortunately, in the marketing space, you do get a lot of the cookie cutter stuff, right? And it doesn't have the customer client's interests, best interests in mind. And it's more difficult, right? It's a lot more
Yeah.
difficult to manage and put together cross-functional, cross-channel strategy, making sure those different components are moving and working together in unison, right? That's where I still have a lot of intimate involvement with our clients because we want to have more of that white glove concierge, strong, keen understanding of our clients at an intimate level to where we really become partners. And as time goes on, we get more and more familiar with their business. And that allows us to do our job better as well. That's where our model is really, we're selective with who we work with for sure. The clients need to be a fit for us as much as we need to be a fit for them. And we're looking for long term engagements, right? I'm not worried about month one, month two. I want to be 12 months, 24 months, 5 years down the road working with these clients, because that's when we're really going to start to see the exponential results, the economies of scale, and those compounding interest type methodology in terms of the marketing efforts that we're working on.
Absolutely. And you spoke about long-term relationships. Networking plays such an important role in business growth, right? Could you share some of the insights which would have worked for you, let's say doing strategic networking, especially in high stakes scenarios?
Yeah, definitely. Great point. Networking's huge, right? I think part of it is you got to get over that hurdle initially of putting yourself out there, right? I
Yeah,
think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is just taking that first step. We're worried too much about what other people might think, or criticisms, or
yeah,
whatever it may be, right? But I think that's just noise. If you can put that stuff in the background and look at the bigger picture, not everything's going to work, right? You're going to understand, hey, this works better than this. But I think that's the first step, right? Is putting stuff out there to test, see what does start to work. One of the best things I've done, I think LinkedIn for me has been an awesome channel. And what I've done is I've really focused just on my specific location that I'm in. So I'm based in Southern California, Orange County particularly, right? So we're in a big metro area with Los Angeles, lots of people, but I only focus on networking right in my own backyard. And the reason is I have so much more familiarity with those individuals, to where
mm,
I really am trying to grow my network, meet new people, right? See what they're doing. If I can support them, great. If not, or maybe it's not the right time, it might be down the road, right? But I also
right.
have that familiarity to where we can talk about the same things, whether it's the weather, the traffic, events that may be going on, or just different restaurants or bars that we all like to go to. And meeting as well is a lot easier. And so I think that's where people, they try and get a little bit too wide, right? I don't, would I love to meet more people in New York? Yeah, sure. But it's like, for me to go and grab coffee with them, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And I can't tell you the amount of people that I've actually met through LinkedIn. I basically just send an outreach, say, hey, I'm trying to grow my professional network in Orange County. Here's what I do. If I could ever be supportive, great. If I can support you, vice versa. And I've done coffee meetings, lunch meetings, had a lunch meeting on Tuesday with a gentleman that I had never met in person. But then I think it's too, what value can you bring to the table as well? I think you need to go in with the mindset of, I'm not expecting anything in return from them.
True.
I'm trying to provide them with whatever value I can, whether that's opening doors with relationships or connections, or the information that you might be able to give them, right? I think if you go in with that mindset, you'll be very successful. But you got to be consistent too, right? It takes time, takes energy. It's not going to
Mhm.
happen overnight. So yeah, I think putting yourself out there, finding a channel that makes sense, that you like working on, and then being pretty specific too. Like really hone in on be very adamant about what you're trying to do, and have a clear understanding and roadmap. And I think you'll find a lot of success if you just take those kind of key points into the market and when it comes to networking.
Brilliant. And what is your take on doing podcasts to target your market segment? Because this has been a shot in the arm for us marketers. How do you feel? Let's take an example of law marketing. How do you feel that a law firm can use podcasts as a strategy to gain momentum?
I think it's great. When we go back to the core roots of business, it's more often than not, people choose to do business with somebody because they like that person, right? Or they
Yeah,
like doing business with them, or they're comfortable with them in the
right.
conversation that they might be having. They trust them. They don't feel like
Yeah,
they're being swindled, or that something is not fishy, right? Whatever it may be. And so I think with podcasts, you're out there, you're out front, you're seeing the person, you're hearing them speak, you understand better their thought process, and you know it's actually genuinely them as well. Versus, don't get me wrong, we blogging is awesome too. You never really know who might be behind those words. It might not
Yeah,
necessarily be as true and authentic. So, yeah, that's where I think with video content, it's great because you get that personal feel and you see that conversational tone. And it's a point too, it's COVID and 2020. And it's, I keep talking about it, but I'm realizing more and more it's going to be something we're talking about for a very long time because it shifted the dynamics so much, right?
it did.
And even then, like Zoom calls, it's still a little bit tough to gauge how you feel about the person, their reactions. Are they
Yeah.
paying attention? So video definitely helps. But then, even to my point about networking, I think anytime you can be in front of somebody physically in the same room, at coffee, at lunch, right? That's
Hmm.
super helpful. But I think podcasting definitely it closes that gap if you're unable to be in the same room at the same time. So I think it's a great medium. And then from a marketing perspective, it allows you to show what you can do, right? It allows you to build your expertise. And so, yeah, if you're talking about a lawyer, a guy that can go on and talk about X, Y, and Z, particular cases, how they approached it, then when people are in that same situation, their barrier is going to come down because they feel more comfortable. That individual knows what they're doing, what they're talking about based on content they may have found wherever they may find it.
Absolutely. And talking about content, we were hit by the storm AI, Chat GPT exactly a year back, right? So
Yeah.
how do you think the industry has adopted it? And at 5V Group, what changes did you make, or how did it affect your lives at Flying V? And also, what do you think, where are we headed? Exciting times ahead for sure. But this is just 1 year, right? It's gonna get more and more involved into day-to-day scheme of things if it is not today for anyone. But yeah. So how do you think it's gonna be, let's say, 6 months from now? Where are we headed?
Yeah, great question too. So, yeah, it's definitely caused disruption, right? Right now, there's more content that's being produced and distributed than ever, right?
Right.
For obvious reasons, in that it's become a lot easier, faster with this technology. And so, what you've seen again is the market's been flooded with content and information on whatever topic it might be. I think where our focus is on, okay, we know there's going to be more content out there, but that's where we want to lean even heavier into the expertise of our clients. And
Mhm.
so, what AI can't necessarily replicate is the real world experience, is the actual individual that has that expertise and understanding and nuance of whatever particular vertical they might be. So what does that mean? That means that content that's out there, there's going to be an even higher barrier from a quality standpoint for the content and information that's going to move the needle. And why is because that AI content that is being generated, the differentiation of the content is not big, right? So, yes, we're getting a lot more content, but a lot of it is very similar because it's obviously being produced by the same models, by the same LLMs. And so that's where we really are looking to how can we inject case studies? How can we interview our client and get their own words into the content and the information, leverage their past experiences? And so, with that being said, I still think there's AI is definitely supportive, right? I think in terms of accelerating processes, we definitely use it when you're talking about SEO to, hey, give me a breakdown, right, of this piece. Where are there gaps? Where can we do better from a SEO standpoint? But I still think going back, you can't replace the human element. And so even with our clients, they've talked about, hey, we've tried to use Chat GPT, but the
Yeah.
problem is that it doesn't sound like us, right? And it's true because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a difference between, okay, someone sitting down and writing or injecting that information, putting it in their tone, in their voice. And so I think that's the big emphasis for us on the content and SEO side is definitely creating more of it because there are automations and efficiencies that AI provide,
Yeah.
but it's how can we differentiate? And so I think that actually it gives us an advantage because if you do have a real business and you do have real experience and you can figure out a way to, okay, go and inject that into your information is now going to be that 1 to 2% that is not the 98% of the just random AI generic content that's being generated.
Absolutely. It has been a brilliant conversation, Rob. Thank you so much. But yeah, before I let you go, I would like to play a quick rapid fire with you. I hope you're
Great.
game for it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Great. Your last Google search.
Oh gosh. Last Google search, I think it was something, it was for a client in the waste and recycling space. And I was looking up a law that they had referenced then there again, right? A particular
Yeah.
California law that was in one of our content pieces. And I was researching what it was.
All right. All right. And let's say if we were to make a movie on you, Rob, what genre would it be?
What genre? Probably sports. Yeah, sports action, right? So something that can combine the two. Huge sports junkie, American football, baseball, hockey.
Lovely.
Yeah, so definitely sports.
Lovely. Moving on, your celebrity crush, Rob.
Celebrity crush. My wife's a celebrity, so I'm definitely gonna say I think she's a celebrity. So I'm gonna take the out with that and make sure I don't get in trouble.
Come on.
I just recently got married, but yeah, no, she's great. And then I love Jennifer Aniston too. She actually
There you
turned me
go.
on. Yeah, she's a big Friends fan, so really like Jennifer Aniston. She's great.
Okay, lovely. Okay, the last one will not really any further. Since you did mention, congratulations, you recently got married. So what's
Thank you.
the plan for the next vacation?
Next vacation. Well, so we went to Hawaii for honeymoon. And then, yeah,
Uh-huh.
next vacation is actually going to be local, but it's a little town here past Los Angeles in a valley. It's called Ojai, Ojai. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're going up there for a few days in the middle of December, one of our favorite areas and hotels. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Lovely. Great. I'll not really any further. So it has been a brilliant conversation, Rob. Thank you so much for taking our time and doing this with us. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for reaching out, Ranmay. Really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And yeah, hope to talk to you soon.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.